Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of CoinNewsExtra interview session, a beautiful program where we invite innovators, stakeholders, and professionals in the blockchain, fintech, and cryptocurrency ecosystem to come add their view and state of the ecosystem. So today I have with me an IT professional. He is Kenneth Igiri, joining us from Ghana. Kenneth, you're welcome to CoinNewsExtra.
Thank you very much, Lee. I'm glad to be here, and thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure to have you. Thank you very much. So how is Ghana today?
Ghana is great. Good weather, peaceful environment, and we're enjoying ourselves. You know, we're good.
Yeah, that's okay. So today we'll be looking at tech adoption for small businesses, seeing what is happening in the world today because of the COVID, and a lot of businesses are suffering. So we're going to be looking how technology is going to be playing a role in sustaining businesses. But before we go straight to that topic, I would like to get a brief about yourself and your background.
Great. My name is Kenneth Igiri, like Lee has said, and I've been in IT for about 15 years. I've done service management, I've done application support and database support. And currently I'm what you call an enterprise architect. I basically help evaluate solutions that are coming into my environment, to my company, to see how they meet the business need, how they can be deployed correctly, how we govern them so that the architecture is correct, the environment, it fits into the existing environment. It's like almost like a town planner for houses. So that's what I currently do. And as an aside, in my free time, I try to engage small businesses and fine-tune them by, evaluating their strengths. I have a model, I have a program where I use the SWOT model and the business model canvas to basically walk through a business and see how they can improve. And then I advise them on how they can infuse technology, simple technology, sometimes free technology, to help them improve their processes. That's basically what I do by the side.
Interesting. So talking about businesses, and let's look towards this direction. You have experience in this area. What would you say are some of the challenges facing small businesses right now?
Okay, I will start by stating the obvious. There are some things that are quite obvious. For example, capital. Sometimes you organize an event and you say, come along and learn how to optimize your business, learn about the business model canvas, learn the experience of people. And the people are apprehensive or hesitant about attending. But once you say, we're going to give you 10,000 Ghana cedis startup capital, I mean, they are ready to go because everybody wants money. And everybody thinks that the problem their business has is money. It's not always true, but it is true that capital is an issue for small businesses. And credit is also an issue because in this part of the world, the lending rates are very high, both in Nigeria and in Ghana. So when a business goes to a bank to say, I want money I want a loan, he has to really think about it, whether what he's going to put that money into will really, make enough to return the loan, return the interest. The interest rates are quite high. That's part of the problem, the capital problem, the credit problem. Then you have the problem of education. A lot of people, they think that as long as I can buy and sell, I'm fine. And the reason why this is the case is because in certain businesses, in quite a number of small businesses, the level of saturation is not as much as some other advanced countries where things are fully stabilized. And that's why Africa is determined an emerging market. So what happens is, as long as I can do the basics of business, I can survive. But, people are not thinking of how do I get myself educated to really, really optimize my business, to do more with what I have, rather than just looking for more money to sink into the business or more customers to sell to. So we are still doing business at the basics. A lot of business are still at the basics of operations. We are not, few of them are now coming to points where they are saying, how can I really, really optimize my business? And that brings me to the issue of blockchain. We'll talk about more of it later, but I was intrigued when I spoke to Shara Kubiani last week about the fact that they took a hair business from, let's say, $500 business to a $2 million business because they introduced a simple technology called blockchain, and they were able to reach more people who could trust the product because the product of the transparency associated with using blockchain in the supply chain of those human hair extensions. So it's like you're able to do this level, but because you don't know how big you can become, you're not educated as to how big you can become, you're just satisfied doing at that level. That's one problem. And then the other obvious problem is infrastructure. Obviously, in a place like Nigeria is big issue because a typical business, your budget has to include a generator of sorts. In fact, a typical household, your budget has to include a generator. So you find out you have a problem with even, balancing your books because you're spending so much on fuel, spending so much on power, and even to supply your goods to your customers, you have to navigate horrible looking roads. Those are big, basic infrastructure issues that governments have problems fixing in Nigeria and in many parts of Africa.
Okay, Kenneth.
Of businesses, yeah.
Okay, Kenneth, still talking about that, how would you've been in this ecosystem for quite a good number of years. How would you compare the state of small and medium enterprises with what is happening in the previous state before the COVID, with this state that it is now? How will you compare the two? How will you rate the state of this in Africa and in Ghana?
Okay,
let's start with Ghana.
Beautiful. That is a wonderful question. That is a beautiful question because you see, what COVID did was that it accelerated digital transformation, digital disruption. Digital disruption, digital transformation, it was already coming. People from long ago, technologies had been, emerging. People had invented things. Social media was there. All the technologies we know there now were there, but the rate of adoption was slow. Even remember Zoom. Zoom escalated significantly in its profits simply because people started using Zoom like we are for meetings. People saw we could use Zoom to educate. People saw we could use Zoom to have our business meetings. All sorts of things. And it just became a big thing. Now, businesses before, they were reluctant. They were like, okay, I'm surviving. I'm okay. But with COVID, with the lockdowns, with problems around shipping goods from across borders, with all sorts of problems around movement, around the regular way we do business, people had to become creative. And what happened is that some small businesses had to fizzle out because they couldn't keep up with that rate of adoption. There's a learning curve with using some of these technologies. If you've not been in it previously, if you've not been touching it a bit, if you're forced into it, you may find out that you're not able to really adapt it to your business if you've not known how to do it. Some businesses, accelerated in their growth because of COVID. For example, I know that last year, there was a significant rise in the likes of your business where you're using platforms like YouTube and social and Zoom to do these conversations. There was a significant rise in that. There was a significant rise in telework, in working from home. So solutions that had to, even internet service providers gained from that. People who are selling bundles gained from that. People who are agents, banking agents who are doing agent business gain from that. People who are doing mobile money gain from, because everything began to tilt towards electronic channels and electronic ways, digital ways of doing business. So there are those who gained and those who suffered because they could not find ways of adopting digital methods. So it's basically, in summary, the COVID episode, the lockdown episode accelerated the adoption of digital techniques, and it accelerated the impact of digital disruption in our societies. I think that's what happened.
That's very good. So we've been able to see some of these challenges facing the small businesses and the state of small businesses in Africa. So we are going to be looking at what's the solution? How can they leverage these businesses? How can they leverage technology to expand and also enhance their businesses?
Okay. Now, the first thing is learning. You just have to learn what is available. And sometimes this learning is not expensive. It is as simple as a Google search. Because what is happening these days is that these platforms that allow you to leverage them for accelerating your business are intuitive. If you know how to use a computer, you can adopt them. I'll mention a few examples as I go along. Now, you have to learn. And then, but before you learn about what technology exists, you have to understand your business. Understand your business. There's a training I had earlier this year where I talked about looking at your customer journey from the point at which they contact you to the point at which you deliver service to them, and looking at all the touch points. When you look at all the touch points, you ask yourself, what technology can I plug into this touch point? For example, look at the issue of advertising to your customers. When you advertise to your customers before COVID, you could go to them house to house to share your flyers. House to house, you're dropping your flyers. And with the rise of COVID, people don't want too many visitors. People don't want strangers around them. People don't want to be collecting pieces of paper from you because you've touched them with your hands. So what do? You have to ask yourself, can I use a Canva to design my flyers? Can I distribute my flyers over WhatsApp, over Telegram, over social media? How can I learn how to accelerate marketing on social media? How can I learn how to get people to understand my business over electronic media? How can I organize free trainings on Zoom, on Google Meet that will educate people about my area of business and introduce them to my product? Because that's what webinars typically do. I told a lady who manufactures honey, I said, look, you can have programs where you say, okay, I want to teach you 10 recipes you can do with honey. And it's a Zoom meeting, or it's a Meet meeting, or it's a Facebook Live event that is routine. People want to learn what recipes. Ladies want to learn what recipes can I do with honey. When they learn it, after they learn, you now tell them, this is my product. That way, what you're doing is you are giving value to get value. So you give the value of the training, and you ask them, you can buy my honey and use it for your recipes. So it's a matter of being creative about the method, understanding first your own business, and asking yourself what technology is available. I will give another example. Some people have had to do, education online, schools online. I did an interactive admission session with a friend of mine last week, and his dream was to build a big school. But he doesn't have money for a big school yet. So what can he do? He can decide to start a YouTube channel where he produces his content according to the WASC scheme, and then what he does is anybody who registers with money, he gives them access to the private videos. And he's able to do that with YouTube as a platform. It's a free platform. People want to be educated online, and you can just simply, what you need to know is, okay, what is the content I'm going to be delivering to these students? How much can they pay? If 1,000 people pay 1,000 naira for access to those mathematics lessons, that is 1 million naira. There are about 25 million people in Lagos. Can you get 1,000 people to pay you 1,000 naira to learn math if you really know the math? That's a question that you ask, the delivery method, that how you're delivering your stuff. Now, somebody did something amazing here in Accra. During the COVID, they began to sell these tablets that children could use to learn. Now, before COVID, you would say, if I take a tablet and I go to sell it to a lower middle class person, you say, no, I don't need that thing. It's too expensive for me. But what did they do? They devised a payment plan. They say, okay, I will give you the tablet. We will give you access to the learning. Pay us 150 cedis a month over the course of 1 year. And it covers the cost of the tablet, covers the cost of the training, pays the teachers, and the content is being recycled. Because what you're taking advantage of now is economies of scale. A lot of people are going to come in, they are going to pay for the tablet. You're selling the tablet, which will have sat in your shop. So you see, you just have to, you basically think about, what is my model? Then ask yourself, what technology can I plug in? I have not talked about Google Forms, which is another amazing thing. You can use Google Forms to set examination questions online.
Okay, Kenneth.
It's so much.
Let me cut it short here. Sorry.
Yeah.
Let me cut it short here. So before we draw the curtain on today's episode of CoinNewsExtra interview session, I would like to get your opinion about this. Talking about technology, I would like to get your thoughts about blockchain, cryptocurrency for business development. Just briefly.
Okay. So No problem. So before the interview, I had promised you I was going to talk about Brett King's book. Brett King's a book that is called Bank 4.0. Basically, was exploring how the banking sector is going to change dramatically over the next few years. And one of the things he focused on was cryptocurrencies, blockchain, now Bitcoin blockchain. Now, in the terms of Bitcoin, one of the things he said, which I want to share, which is not probably obvious, is that Bitcoin may not be qualified to be a currency right now. Why? Because of its volatility. Yes, it can be a store of wealth as long as it keeps rising, an investment option, but being a means of exchange, you need something more stable. So it is possible that other digital currencies will arise over time that will be actually means of exchange. That's something we have to keep in mind. Then I also mentioned that at the point at which we are now, we might be facing a case where Bitcoin will plateau. So anybody who is rushing in now, thinking that, oh, it's going to double again, 10 times again, it may or may not happen. We don't know. It's speculation. So it's a good thing to pursue Bitcoin and maybe other coins that are rising, that are becoming more popular with your good research, and maybe you can make some money as a means of storing wealth. On the blockchain part, blockchain is varied in its applications, smart contracts, legal issues, the public ledger issue, which is the backbone for cryptocurrency, supply chain, which somebody like Kubiani, Shadra Kubiani and Priti Kubiani are doing with the hair extension business. There are so many applications where you want to basically track what the manufacturer is delivering to the customer through all the stages using this immutable ledger called blockchain. There are so many applications, there are so many opportunities, and I think young people should go more and more into it, especially because there are existing platforms that you can simply plug into, like the IBM blockchain or other publicly available platforms. You just learn the ropes and apply it to the problem you're trying to solve. Thank you very much. I think I'll stop there.
Thank you very much. It has really been an amazing, interesting time out with you, Kenneth Igiri, IT professional who is joining us from Ghana. Thank you very much for bringing that time joining us today.
Thank you, Lee, for having me. Much appreciated, and keep doing what you're doing. God bless.
Yeah, it's up.